Hi everybody, I'm back. This is a continuation of the other video where I was asking who owns you and broke down what it meant. And I have to tell you that in my last video I said when we did migrate here with, Spanish, the French, and the English, it was more or less a forced immigration in countries that had gotten overpopulated. America had a lot of resources available, but if we wanted access to those resources, because the Native Americans, I don't care how they want to frame it, they were not wanting to give up their land. And honestly, who blames them? But it is a fact of life. It is reality. And today even, our governments are doing mass land grabs, but they're doing it under corporate names. So it doesn't look like the government's grabbing up your land. Just ask any farmer, any cattle rancher. I could go on. But if you think that land grabs aren't still happening, ask a Native American how much their reservations have diminished in size, how much land has been reclaimed by the government. And then ask how many people have had their homes eminently domained and then removed from the properties. Here, right here in America on this present day. A lot of farmers are fighting against it, but they're fighting bureaucracy with democratic governments that they're not out for the American citizen. They are out for foreigners to be able to hold your land. And they're trying to make the laws easier to give it to them. Everybody keeps asking, why are they building all of these apartment buildings when people can't even afford rent today? Well, all those new illegal immigrants that came here, they're going to need a place to put them. And that's where they're designated for. That's not housing for you and me. That's government paid and funded housing through corporate money, so that it's not completely tied to the government. But they've manipulated all of the laws to allow it to be that way. And they call it low-income housing, and they call it affordable housing, and it's all bureaucracy. It's not for real. Once you're here, they sucked you in. I feel sorry for all the illegal immigrants that are here, because they were made so many empty promises, and there's still more trying to come in, believing those empty promises. Do they not ever see, and I know most of them have phones, I've even seen them on YouTube and TikTok, but how do they not know what's happening here to their fellow illegal immigrants? Almost all of them are homeless. They can't find jobs. Why? They have no skills. Only jobs in America are, you gotta have some skills, or you're just a burden on society. And when people feel like you're a burden on them, do you think they really want you here? And I gotta tell you, most of the people coming here are not coming wanting citizenship at all. And they're gonna try to run under the radar and on the government system for as long as they can. They don't want citizenship. Anyone who actually gets here can tell you getting citizenship in America is not the greatest thing in the world. In fact, it guarantees that you are going to be overtaxed, overburdened with policies that are not law. But policy today is the new law. I get that. I recognize who owns me. My government, my president owns me, and he's owned by corporate mongers. Or he wouldn't have been able to raise the money he does, wouldn't be able to do half of what he says in his campaigns. Well, the government's not going to let him do half of what he wants to do. He's going to try, but like the last time, they're just going to nitpick every little detail until he's out of office. He's only got 4 years. And if Donald Trump is able to achieve anything in 4 years, I will be astounded, and I'll get on here and claim that man a genius. Because right now, I don't see a genius. I see someone who is playing a role and telling American citizens what they want to hear. The Democrats are not doing that. They're playing to the criminal aspect of our society. They're playing to the illegal immigrants in our society and making a bunch of empty promises that are never going to follow through. Our homelessness in America was already pretty bad. We had probably 3 to 4 million homeless on record. But I promise you it's twice as much in reality, because they doctor their statistics by limiting what they're going to count. Okay, we're not going to count the illegals, immigrants. We're not going to count them. And so it doesn't show up in the statistics. But because of the illegal immigrants right now, our statistics, if they were accurate, even a tenth accurate, would show that our homeless are about 7 to 10 million people in our country. And people want to keep buying into this malarkey, as my grandma used to call it. But malarkey means BS, okay, for you more modern people. But who owns you? With every dollar you earn, you pay taxes. With every dollar you spend, you pay more taxes. With every dollar you give away, you pay taxes. And then so does the person receiving it. They pay a gift tax, and so do you, if you claim it. But most people, they don't claim it because they know they're going to get taxed again. So, here's $5, here's $10, just take it. It's tax-free for the moment until you spend 1 penny. And if you don't understand who owns you, you cannot understand the thinking behind the things that they do. And this is for the younger generations. You need to wise up. You want to play the games of ideology first? My generation did it too. Our hippie movement, as they call it, that was the biggest occult in America at the time, that everybody was trying to fight for equality for people of color, foreigners, everybody, women, even children had no real rights in the 70s. They were still property of their fathers, and until in the 70s, their mother was then included. But prior to the 70s, she was a piece of property too. So when you're screaming about slavery and all this stuff, you're going after the wrong people. You're not enslaved by the average American citizen. You're enslaved by your government through overtaxation, for overinflation, artificial inflation. Now, I'm not blind to my country. People say America's the greatest. No, it is not. We are almost on par with Russia, with Germany, with Poland, Switzerland. We're almost to the same as they are. They don't treat their people much better, and I say much better because in some cases, yes, they do. But they fell for this nonsense of you have to be a compassionate human being. And that means that what you earn, you have to give half to your government and then half to someone else, not keep it for yourself. And that's not right, especially when the person, either one of those, is not contributing to your life in any way. They're just making it more difficult. I, I'm 60, almost 60 years old in September. I'll be 60. My teeth are falling out because of diabetes that is untreated, but I can't trust the medical profession to give me drugs that are safe. Metformin causes severe heart problems. I already have severe heart problems. I can't take metformin. It makes it worse. I've had open heart surgery two times in my life. I've had other surgeries because of cancer, and I could never afford any of this. This sadly went on my fellow Americans' tax dollars to help me survive as long as I have. And when that kind of system is happening, it's not good for anybody. Now, you ask a Native American, do they feel oppressed by the white man? And the most young people are going to say yes. The older people are going to say, well, we did bargain with them, and our people can work off of the reservation. They can go to school off the reservation because we don't have enough money on the reservation to open schools, to open our own colleges, which is true. And they're like, well, we get reparations for them stealing our land and herding us into these states. But when it comes to getting decent housing, I can't afford to do it, and which is sad. And the reason is not because they don't have the money, it's because they don't have the credit. They don't want to have to go buy a car, spend $30,000 of their own money, plus the interest with no credit. It's going to be excessively high, as high as 45, maybe 50% these days. So, yeah, there's not a lot of benefit to being owned by America. And I love my country. I love that it has these great ideals that our founding fathers began with. Now, what are our governments that we voted in, not anyone in particular, but the country, in collaboration together, voted these people in. And we knew that they were corrupted through lobbyists who come to them, look, we're going to give you this much money. That's how woke and the Q plus alphabet has gotten all their funding. And now that they are this big occult and the government's not sure how to handle it, sorry, but everybody who went along with this occult so that you could teach your child to self-mutilate, you should lose your children. I'm sorry. You went totally bonkers and totally off the deep end to approve your children being sterilized, to approve that your children be psychologically counseled to mutilate their own bodies without your knowledge, and they don't have to give it to you. They don't have to tell you anything. When I went to school, the school was required to tell my parents everything, and they did, but not today. Now the question becomes, what do we do with this big snarling mass of snakes we call a country? Because you got to remember, we are the food for those snakes. We provide all of the sustenance that these snakes need. Now we just got to figure out how to make it work in our favor for a change. And I really wish us the best of luck on that one. It's going to be a tough one. Okay, I'm up to 15 minutes. I gotta go. It's already going to take 2 hours to upload this on YouTube. Why it takes so long is beyond me. Beyond me. Another scam, I guess.